Hey, so today I'm going to do my top rated authors, but this is also kind of my auto-buy authors and also my most owned author books that I have. I just basically went on Goodreads to my most rated authors thing that they have on like the sidebar thing that you can check, and I looked at the top 10, it's actually 14 because some of them were tied, and I just like went through and like saw which authors I've read books from the most and which authors I own the books from the most, and I kind of ordered them in order of kind of like number 14 is an author that I like and I might buy their next book, and I have some of their books, but like I'm like sort of like mildly excited about them and I might buy their next book. And number 1 is like, I love this author, I have their books, I'm gonna buy their next book, it's like on my wish list already, I'm gonna buy it. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of go from number 14 to number 1. So number 14 is James Patterson. I have 15 books, or I've read 15 books from him. I own these 2 books from him. I've read the Lake House, Susan's Diary for Nicholas, and also the Women's Murder Club series. This is number 8 and number 9. There are 14 books in the series. I've read 13 of them. This is like when I used to go to the library and like get books from there all the time. Like that was the only place I read books. I was just like all up in my James Patterson reading these books. I love them so much, and they were just so much fun to read, and I read all 13 of them. So, or there's another one, but like I'm not gonna read it soon, which is why he's kind of number 14, because I don't see myself reading the next book in this series really soon, but I do enjoy his writing. The Lake House, which is one of the other books I read from him, is kind of one of my favorite books ever. It's been, maybe not the writing, but like my experience reading it was amazing, and I just really, like when I think about reading it, I think it's just a happy thought. On that note, the song that I played the whole way through reading that book was Big Girls Don't Cry by Fergie. And when I listen to that song, I think of that book immediately, and that's one of the only songs, or one of the only instances that I have sort of like a music book connection, because I don't listen to music while I read books, but I did for that one, and that song and that book really connected very well for me, and I really love that book. I really love the series. I don't know how I feel about the whole like Maxine Pietro thing and how he always has co-authors these days, and like people have been saying things like he gives ideas and then the other author will like write the book. I don't know much about that, but yeah, I like his writing, I like his books, but I'm not gonna get a book from him really soon, and I'm probably not gonna read the 14th book in this really soon, and I talked about him for a very long time and I have 13 more people to talk about, so let's go! Number 13 is James Dashner. I have the Maze Runner trilogy and also the Kill Order, which is right here. Did not like this. I like the Maze Runner. I will read anything that he makes about the Maze Runner, so I read the Kill Order. I'm going to read the prequel that's coming out, The Fever Code, which is about Thomas and Teresa and their experience before the maze and how the maze was made, and you know how the rest of the Gladers got there. So I will be reading that, I will be buying that, but I'm not interested in his other books. I'm probably not going to buy anything else other than like Maze Runner centered stuff. Next is Richelle Mead. I have read 7 books from her. I've read the Vampire Academy trilogy series, and then I've also read the first Bloodlines book. I like the Vampire Academy series. It kind of went a little bit downhill for me, and I don't know if I will continue reading Bloodlines. I have heard some really good things about her adult books, so I don't really know where to start with that, but I might give it a go maybe, but yeah. Number 11 is Brian K. Vaughan and also Fiona Staples, because Saga series, I own these 4 books, which are the Saga books that are out right now, the Saga volumes. I love them so much, definitely read them if you haven't. Yeah, I will probably eventually read more stuff from Brian K. Vaughan and also Fiona Staples, who is the illustrator, but for now it's just Saga. Number 10 is George R.R. Martin. I own these books, which is the entire Song of Ice and Fire series so far. I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, so I read 4 of his books. I love them. I'm going to read the next ones. I know he has some other books, but for now, and I'm pretty sure they're all going to be really big, for now this is going to be enough. I still have these 2 to read, so I'm just going to focus on A Game of Thrones or A Song of Ice and Fire by him. But yeah, I really love him as an author, and I'm excited to read the next books, and yes. Number 9 is Tracy Chevalier. This is A Girl with a Pearl Earring and The Lost Runaway. I've read this one, and also Burning Bright, The Virgin Blue, and The Lady and the Unicorn, and I actually did reviews for those like at the start of when I started BookTube, which is kind of cool, throwback. And yeah, I She's actually one of the only authors that is in this list that doesn't have a series of books, so I've read a lot of her individual books. It was at a time that I went to the library a lot, so I was like reading her books from libraries. And I got this like later on after I had already read it because I liked it so much. This is my favorite book from her, definitely, because it's amazing. Definitely check it out and read it if you haven't. And yeah, I obviously got this one when it came out, and I really haven't been paying attention much to what she's been writing right now. I haven't really thought about her. I would actually be interested to see more of what she's writing and to see if she's released anything. She writes historical fiction. I did really enjoy it. It was like at my historical fiction phase. Number 8 is Stephenie Meyer. These are the 6 books that I own from her, and I've also read Midnight Sun, which was like her unfinished Edward's perspective of Twilight, set Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, The Host, and The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, which is like the novella type thing. Yeah, I put her at number, what is she? Number 8, because I did really enjoy her books when I read them. And The Host is a really great book. Definitely read it if you haven't. It is amazing, and it's very different from Twilight if you didn't like Twilight. And there was supposed to be a sequel to The Host, but it has not come yet. Like years and years later. I have very little hope that it will ever come out, but I would be beyond excited if it did, and I would definitely read it if it did. And actually, I think if she wrote anything, I would want to read it because she was the person who kind of got me into reading, and I want to see what she makes next. So she's number 8. Number 7 is Sarah J. Maas. I have all of her books on like ebook form, so Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Air of Fire, and ACOTAR, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I haven't read Hair of Fire, but I've read the other 3 and I did really enjoy them, and I will definitely be picking up the next book in the ACOTAR series and also in the Throne of Glass series. I just need to read Hair of Fire, but yeah, I do really like her as an author, and I will be buying more of her books just on ebook form, because that's kind of what I've been doing so far. Number 6 is V Snyder. I have these 3 books from her. This is the Poison Study series, Poison Study, Magic Study, and Fire Study. I've also read her 2 novellas, Assassin Study and Power Study. I've also read Touch of Power, Scent of Magic, and Taste of Darkness, which is the 3 books in the Healer series or trilogy, and Shadow Study as well, and I plan to read the next book in the Shadow Study like series that just came out recently, and I did a review if you want to like know what that's about. It is a continuation of the Study series, so yeah, a lot of series, a lot of books. I really like it. She writes fantasy books, and they're all kind of set in the same world, or at least the books that I've read are kind of set in the same world, and I really enjoy them and the characters, and I will definitely read more of her books. Number 5 is Rick Riordan. I've read the Percy Jackson series, the 5 books, and I definitely want to read the Kane Chronicles and the Heroes of Olympus series. I just haven't done it for some reason. I read Percy Jackson a really long time ago when I was like in the middle of high school probably, so it's been a really long time. I'm kind of old, and yeah, I definitely want to get into it again, read his books, and own all of his books. I just need to get started on that. I want Heroes of Olympus in hardback, and they are so expensive, so that's kind of one of the things that stopped me from reading it and getting the books, but I will do it very soon, hopefully. Number 4 is John Green. I own An Abundance of Catherines, The Fault in Our Stars, Paper Towns, and those were all in hardback, and then I own Looking for Alaska in paperback, which kind of annoys me, and then Let It Snow, which is also with Maureen Johnson and Lauren Miracle. I've read everything except for this one, and I like his books. I like his writing a lot, and it's kind of like a thing on BookTube to read his books. I definitely will read whatever book he makes next because he is a good writer. Number 3 is Veronica Roth. I've read Divergent, Insurgent, and Allegiant, the Divergent series, and also I've read the novellas The Transfer and Free For, which is like from For's perspective. I would definitely read whatever she makes next, and I've heard that she's making a book about Star Wars, and I think it's going to be a duology. It's like in a Star Wars vein, I think it said something like that, and that sounds really interesting, and I'm interested to see what she makes next. Number 2 is Patrick Ness. I love him. I love his writing. The Chaos Walking trilogy, these books right here are amazing. They are just incredible. I love them. Probably my favorite trilogy ever, maybe. And then More Than This is a really awesome, unique book, and it's an awesome book cover thing with like a window as well, so yeah. I really love his books. I am definitely going to be reading whatever he makes next. I'm going to be buying, this is, what is it called? the rest of us just live here, and I've been meaning to buy A Monster Calls forever, and I just haven't because I'm not really buying books right now, but when I am, I will definitely be buying that book, and it's being turned into a movie, so you know I gotta buy it. And finally, number 1 is Marissa Meyer. I have every book that she's ever published. Cinder, Scarlet, Crest, Fairest, all the books in the Lunar Chronicles so far. I'm definitely going to be reading Winter when it comes out because, of course, I love these books so much. And I'm also going to be reading the new book that she's making that's not part of the series. It's called, I don't know what it's called, but it's about Alice in Wonderland. It's like a prequel. And I've also read all of the novellas for this series. So I've read Glitches, The Little Android, The Queen's Army, and Carswell's Guide to Being Lucky. So I love her. She's an amazing author, and I've read all of her books, so definitely deserves to be number 1. And that is everything. I've been talking for so long. Tell me in the comment section below some books that you love and some books that you, or some authors I guess, that are auto-buy authors or authors that you have to buy their books. And that's it. I'm gonna go now. I hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time. Bye!